around the world face violence and inequality just because of their sexual orientation and gender identities. Although a lot have been said and done, and nevertheless, in many parts of the world, discrimination still persists in various forms, various degrees, from bullying to being denied for a job. And this range of discrimination is extensive. Joining me from Singapore, Vaneesa Jacqueline, who is motivational speaker, blogger, social activist, especially for LGBTQ rights. Vaneesa, we welcome you on our show and thank you so much for joining us.
You.
So Vaneesa, it would be wonderful to know a little bit more about you and your life journey and how you became a social activist.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa. Currently, right now, I'm the National Secretary for SC6 International Council for Progressive Women. I'm also the National Representative for SC6 International. Well, I've always been interested in women empowerment and also the empowerment of the LGBT community ever since I studied sociology during my university days. I realized that these two groups face a lot of problems. So after studying these two subjects, I made it my quest to try to help these two groups. Both of these groups meant a lot to me because as I'm transitioning into being a woman, I feel that I need to help the female society and also the LGBT community. So my journey has not been a smooth one. I've gone through a lot of discriminations, many upheavals. I suffered from low self-esteem, and throughout my journey, it has shaped me to be who I am. It has gained me the confidence to build myself up. Of course, I couldn't do this alone. On the way, I met people who helped me in my journey. So, whenever I talk about motivation, I always emphasize that we need the right people to help us to rise up in life. We cannot do it alone because we don't live alone. You know, there are always people who think that they can do things by themselves. Actually, it's impossible. We need people to help us, and we need a good network.
Indeed.
And when it comes to networking, I always emphasize that women need to support women.
Yes.
That is number one rule. Women cannot bring down other women. They need to always support one another so that they can bring the whole community up. And this needs to be done continuously. It needs to be in our mindsets to help one another. I also have this mindset when it comes to the LGBT community. Because of my experience, I'm now helping the LGBT community to also rise up. And one way I'm doing this is by posting my motivational LGBT videos every Friday on my Facebook. I've done 53 of them.
Wow.
Of course, I don't expect my videos to help everyone because I believe that we all come from different backgrounds and we have different experiences. And my experiences is actually unique to me.
Yes.
And in my videos, I always talk about my experience. So my experience sometimes may not be other people's experience.
Yeah.
And I accept that fact. But if I can help as many as possible, I'll be very, very happy. And as I mentioned earlier about me being the Statistics International Council for Progressive Women, that is a huge platform that I have joined to empower women,
Yeah.
to make them grow and to become independent, to help them find the skills that they need to become independent in life. Because I always believe that women must be independent.
Right.
And once they are independent, they will be able to get out of certain situations. For example, like if they are caught in a situation where they face domestic violence,
Yeah.
if they know how to become independent, if they know how to grow their wealth, they will be able to move out from that scenario. Because a lot of women who suffer from domestic violence are very dependent on their other half.
Yeah.
But if they can move out from that situation, it'll be great. And also, sometimes women like to have their own money.
Right. Right.
Because I've listened to some of the stories that
Yeah.
like some women who have left their jobs and just decided to relax at home. And when their husbands tell them that they can support them, they feel happy about it, but it won't last long because being independent is something that humans crave for. We crave for freedom. So if our freedom is dependent on someone, somehow there will be a friction. So in this sense, like I always said, I always believe that women should be independent, and that is one of my passion in why I want to empower women.
Right, wonderful. So, Vanessa, you have been quite, actively working for LGBT community also for gender equality. And would you like to give a little bit more insight into your work?
Well, right now, actually, I'm a freelance LGBT activities, so I'm not really working for a certain association.
Yeah,
Everything that I have been doing is on my own,
yeah,
and there are some people in the community, in the LGBT community, who have come to me for advice, and in return, I do advise them on how to go about in their lives.
yeah,
But of course, I do hope that I will be able to join a society that will help the LGBT community, which I think it will be pretty soon because I got some connections with some NGOs that are actually helping the LGBT community. So I'll see how will, I'll see how I'll be able to handle the NGO soon. I hope that I will be able to increase my work
yeah.
and also work able to provide my services properly.
Right, right. So, Vanessa, according to you, or what you have experienced when you have been staying in Singapore, the key issues and the current challenges as far as LGBT community is concerned, and all those stereotypical attitude challenges of the society that you have observed around you. Would you like to discuss more about those key issues?
In Singapore, the situation is a bit unique. It is like, I do not disturb you, you will not disturb me. So basically, the LGBT community is left alone to do whatever they wish to do. But with that said, we cannot rule out that the LGBT community is not being discriminated. The acceptance of the LGBT community in Singapore, I would say, has not reached its peak. It is about 50% of what it should be.
Mhm.
Or maybe I would say it's actually even less than that, because there are still those who suffer from discrimination, especially from their own home,
Right.
when their parents cannot accept them. And their parents actually make them feel less adequate. And because of this, a lot of those LGBT people who are living with LGBT parents have no self-esteem. Therefore, in one of my motivational talks, I have told them how to overcome this situation, because I live with I live with anti-LGBT parents too. I just told them that your parents may talk down with you, but it is only their perspective.
Yes.
If you take it to heart, then you will let it affect you. I told them to be more relaxed, to have a calm mind, and also to develop a calm mind, because you cannot just have a calm mind overnight. So if they have a calm mind, they will be able to accept whatever their parents say and also to let it go. That is how I'm helping those with, living with anti-LGBT parents.
Right.
Then there is a social factor in Singapore whereby the family is seen as one that has a husband and a wife, and maybe with one or two other children. So that is considered a family unit in Singapore. A same-sex family unit is not considered as a family in Singapore. So that is another discrimination that the LGBT community is facing in Singapore itself.
Right.
Now, because of this, there's a rule called the 377A, which actually is a rule that says that same-sex couple cannot have sex.
Yeah.
However, it is not enforced. But the LGBT community has been fighting for this rule to be everyday. Sorry, sorry. They've been fighting for this rule to be removed. It will be a long fight, because, like I said before, the government views the social unit as a heterosexual family.
Right.
And also because we do not have a government representative for the LGBT community. So it'll be very difficult to remove this law. If you actually look at other countries, especially in India, where this law was actually removed, I noticed that in each of these countries there is a government representative of the LGBT community in the government. That's why it's easier to be removed.
Right. Right. Right.
So I just hope that one day this will also happen. Okay, another factor I can bring out about how the LGBT community is discriminated is some businesses in Singapore, they wouldn't want somebody in the LGBT community to be in their business, because they say it's bad for business. Because of the acceptance, the level of acceptance in Singapore, they feel that if there's an if there's an LGBT person in a business, it will affect their business, which is totally wrong because every one of us are able to do whatever we want to do. We are capable to do what the next person is. We're
Yes.
all humans.
Right.
So
Right.
this kind of mindsets need to be erased. And I believe that the only way to be erased is through education. That's why in my LGBT motivational talks, I always ask the LGBT community to step out and tell the people who we are, to educate the people who we are, to tell them that we do not fight at all.
Right.
We are very safe people in the world. We are like you. We can do the same thing as you are, you know.
Right. Right.
But
Right. I know.
this takes time.
Yes.
Of course, when I look at other countries and in the way they have progressed, somehow I do feel a bit jealous about it because they have already made such great progress. But in Singapore, it is still a long road.
Yes. I know. So, Vanessa, would you like to, share any incident of your life when you felt that you have been just discriminated against your, gender identity during COVID time, especially?
Well, during my journey, I've faced some discrimination. For example, I had name calling. I had Coke bottles thrown at me, and there was one funny accident. To me, it's funny because I always laugh at it when I think about it. I was ordering my food, and I found a place to sit and eat. However, there was a guy there, so I asked the guy permission whether I could sit. The guy was totally fine with it. But when I sat there, his girlfriend came to pull him away. So at that time, I felt pretty annoyed about what happened. But after thinking about it, I started to laugh. I was thinking, I told myself how ignorant these people are. I'm just eating. I'm not here going to take. I'm not here to take away your boyfriend. And also once in the MRT station, when I chose to sit next to a kid, the mother actually came to tell the kid not to sit next to me. So
Right.
these are the discriminations that I faced.
Yes. Vanessa, do you have any message for our viewers during this COVID times?
COVID time is do not fear this disease at all.
Yeah.
No, ever since this disease appeared and after we be confined at home, a lot of people are now afraid to move out of the house. They've let the fear of this disease to affect them. Now this actually reminds me of my past where I let society to take their terms on me. I realized that society cannot dictate my terms. I dictate my own terms. I dictate where I go, what I wear, what lipstick I use, what high heels I use, how I talk, you know. So in the same way, if we let this disease dictate our terms, we start to fear it. And if we can fear a disease, we will fear other things in life.
Right. Right.
Life still goes on. Yes, we go out, we got to wear a mask. Fair enough. But we cannot let it control us at all.
True. 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 Thank you so much, Vanessa, for your time and for sharing your perspective with us. We wish you all the best for your projects and future endeavors towards, removing social stigma for LGBT rights. And once again, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you so much once again for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Take care and see you.